Hey guys, I thought I would show you today how to make these cute little planter covers. I just like any kind of opportunity to bring more color into my house. These are really simple. They use just a little bit of yarn, like whatever you have on hand. I'm putting them around these little terracotta pots, which are super inexpensive. So for this project, we're gonna need yarn, scissors, a crochet hook. I'm using a G hook. I'm also using this stitch marker, which is super handy because we're gonna be going in circles, and instead of having to count each stitch, you just go until you make it to the marker. So I'm using this weight of yarn. It's a chunky, almost bulky weight. On the label, they do call it bulky, and they recommend a J hook, which I'm gonna use a G hook because I like the way, see how compact it is. When you use a smaller hook with a larger yarn, it's nice and compact, the stitches are. I just liked the way that looked. We're also using a terracotta planter to cover. This is a little 3-inch guy that I got from my local nursery. I think it was like 59 cents. And it's just perfect for these little baby succulents you can get. So the first thing we're going to do is chain 25. That's 25. We're going to be making a circle. All we're going to do is join this end to this end. And that's pretty easy. You just put your needle in, make sure it's not twisted. It's all the same direction. And you slip stitch. So just bring your yarn through. There you guys circle. And for this project, we're gonna use a stitch marker, which, because we're gonna go around in circles, a marker is gonna tell us when we're coming to the end of the row. You can use these, they're really helpful if you don't wanna count. You can count once, mark it, and forget it. So I am going to slip my marker in there. I'm going to single crochet through each of these chain loops that I just made. So we're coming to the end of our first row. I'm gonna get in there, stitch into the last stitch, which is where our marker is. Our marker is the last stitch. Before I join to the next row, I'm going to move my marker over since I'm in the last stitch of the row and put that on. Now I'm just going to keep going all the way around to the next stitch marker again. So that's row 1. I'm going to do it again. And then we're going to stitch it into the last row, which is where our stitch marker is, and move our stitch marker up. So that's row 2. Nothing fancy, just keep going. We're actually gonna do this for 4 rows. So just keep single crochet and you're gonna move your stitch marker up 4 times. You're gonna make 4 rows. So I'll see you back when you're done with 4 rows. So we have 4 rows finished. This is what it's gonna look like. It's about this high. I've moved my marker up, so we're on row 4. And for the 5th row, you can see the way a planter is shaped. It goes out as it gets higher. So we're gonna wanna do that with our work. We want it to increase and get bigger as it gets to the top. So this is one of the increased rows, and the way we're gonna do it, we're gonna still single crochet, but every once in a while, we're gonna put 2 single crochets in the same space. And all that does is add more stitches so that each row gets bigger and bigger. So this is row 5, and we're going to do 2 single crochets at the beginning. So that's an increase because we're making it wider. Now we're going to do single crochets until, this is very professional guys, until that stitch marker is at 6 o'clock on the clock. Does that make sense? So your needle is at 12 all the time. So we'll just keep going. This is not exact because it's just a little cozy. It doesn't need to be exact. It's just for in order to fill it out. Our needle is on the 12 o'clock mark. So right now the marker is at, 4:30? So we'll do a couple more stitches and see what time we're at. So in this next stitch, we're gonna put 2 single crochets in the same space. Do it again. And then we're going to fill the rest of the row with single crochets in each stitch. Last stitch, and then move our marker up to the stitch we just made. So that was row 5. And now for row 6, we're just gonna put single crochets in each of the stitches. By nature of there being extra stitches now, that row should start to widen. That was row 6. So for row 7, we're going to increase again. So we're going to put 2 single crochets in the first space that we come to. And then we're going to single crochet until our stitch marker is at 6 o'clock on the dial. So we're going to single crochet all the way to where we need it. So my next stitch is about where I want it. So I'm going to put 2 single crochets into this space here. Now we're on row 8, and I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to widen a little bit, each row that we're going up, because of those added stitches that we're doing, those increased stitches, or those 2 single crochets in one space. You can kind of see it's starting to look like a coffee sleeve, which is what we want. So row 8, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch. So now we're done with row 8. Sometimes I like to test it just to make sure that I'm on track. So we'll just test it to see where we're at, how it's fitting. It should be pretty snug because you don't really want it riding down into your gross water as you water your plants. Ah, look how cute. So now we're coming to that lip. Row 9 is where we're going to take care of that edge of the terracotta plant. So since it's larger, we're going to have to add a little bit more increases than we've been doing. So to use the clock metaphor, we're going to add double stitches or 2 single crochets in one space. We're going to add an increase at 1 o'clock. So that was 2 single crochets in that first space. And now single crochet until your marker gets to about 3 o'clock on the clock. Probably 2 more. We'll do 2 single crochets in this space. That's an increase. Now we'll go until our stitch marker is at 6 o'clock. About right. So in this space we're going to do 2 single crochets or an increase in that space. We're going to go around to 9 o'clock. When the stitch marker's on 9 o'clock, we'll do it again. Single crochet in each stitch. One more. I'm going to put 2 in this one. Looks about right. So we're going to finish that row with a single crochet in each stitch. So that was row 9. Our finished product is going to have 12 rows. So from here on out, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch until we get to 12. Right now that was 9, so this will be 10. was row 11. And one more row will just finish it off. Even though it looks like it's the right height, once everything stretches out, you kind of want it to be a little higher than what looks like it's needed. So that was row 11. We'll finish off row 12. So now we're on our last stitch. I'll put it in where that marker is. And to finish off, I'm just going to go into the next stitch and pull the yarn through like a slip stitch. And tie it off. So I'm just going to make sure that it all fits before I cut everything in case I have to do some more work. But let's try them on. I like that it's snug like that. You really want it like that so it's not going to fall down or sag or look like it's not supposed to be on there. Look how cute. And that's how you make a planter cozy. Tell your friends that you made a little cozy for your planter, and I'll see you in the next video.